What if you could triple your harvest without expensive fertilizers or modern gadgets? Indigenous tribes have cracked the code to abundant food, using nothing but nature's own secret weapons. From plants that kill pests underground to living fertilizer factories, here are 15 gardening tricks that transform ordinary plots into food paradises. Those cheerful orange and yellow marigolds dotting tribal gardens aren't just there for decoration. Behind their innocent appearance lies one of nature's most effective pest control systems, working tirelessly both above and below ground to protect valuable crops. Beneath the soil, marigold roots wage silent chemical warfare against microscopic enemies. They release natural compounds that are absolutely lethal to harmful nematodes, those tiny worms that love to feast on plant roots and quietly destroy crops from underground. What makes this system brilliant? The same chemicals that eliminate these destructive pests leave neighbouring vegetables completely unharmed. It's like having an underground security team that knows exactly which visitors to eliminate and which ones to welcome. The protection doesn't stop at soil level. Above ground, marigolds emit a sharp, distinctive scent that sends common garden pests running. Aphids, beetles and whiteflies simply can't tolerate the smell and quickly move on to find easier targets elsewhere. When planted around garden edges or tucked between crop rows, marigolds create living barriers that form a fragrant defensive perimeter. But here's where marigolds really shine as garden allies. While they're busy repelling harmful insects, they simultaneously attract the beneficial ones. Bees and butterflies flock to their bright blooms, boosting pollination rates for surrounding food plants and increasing overall garden productivity. Central Mexican farmers discovered this dual-action benefit generations ago. One experienced elder shared how surrounding his cornfields with thick marigold borders led to dramatically higher yields. The usual swarms of pests that attacked young shoots stayed away entirely, saving both the harvest and countless hours of manual pest control. While marigolds excel at keeping pests away, even the most protected plants need proper nutrition to reach their full potential. Enter Tithonia, the unassuming wildflower that tribal farmers across Africa call their soil superhero. This blazing orange bloomer might look ordinary growing along roadsides, but it packs an extraordinary secret that's revolutionizing how communities feed themselves. When farmers cut down Tithonia's thick, leafy stems and mix them into soil before planting, they're setting off what locals call the green bomb. Within days, surrounding crops explode with growth thanks to a powerful cocktail of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium locked inside those lush leaves. As the plant material decomposes, it releases these essential nutrients in forms that young seedlings can easily absorb. This resilient plant flourishes on poor, depleted soils that have been worn down by years of farming or erosion. How does it manage this feat? Its deep roots dive far below the surface, reaching nutrients that other plants can't access and concentrating them in its leaves. The results speak for themselves. In Western Kenya, tribal farmers who began incorporating chopped Tithonia leaves around their maize fields witnessed something remarkable. Many saw their yields double within just one growing season, transforming struggling plots into productive farmland. Perhaps the most brilliant aspect of Tithonia is its renewable nature. Cut it back, let it regrow, harvest again. Rich soil creates the foundation for abundant growth, but even the most fertile ground can wash away without proper protection. When heavy rains threaten to wash away precious topsoil, tribal farmers turn to an unassuming grass that builds living walls beneath the earth. Vetiver grass might not look impressive above ground, but its roots tell a completely different story. These remarkable roots plunge straight down into the soil up to 15 feet deep, forming dense underground networks that grab onto earth and refuse to let go. When torrential rains come, farms protected by vetiver borders stay exactly where they belong, while unprotected plots lose their fertile topsoil to rushing water. But vetiver's protective powers extend far beyond erosion control. Those same deep root systems create impenetrable barriers that stop aggressive weeds from spreading underground. Instead of battling invasive plants that steal nutrients and space from valuable crops, farmers can focus their energy on growing food, while vetiver quietly maintains the boundaries. The results are impressive. Gardens surrounded by vetiver barriers produce nearly twice as much food with half the work required. This efficiency boost comes from multiple sources. Protected soil stays rich and intact. Weeds can't establish footholds, and the grass itself helps create favourable, growing microclimates. There's even an unexpected bonus. Vetiver releases a pleasant, earthy scent that many insects find completely unappealing, adding another layer of natural pest protection to garden plots. As one experienced farmer from northern Thailand explained, plant it once and forget about it. The vetiver works while you sleep, keeping your soil where it belongs and the weeds where they belong, far from your food plants. The grass grows in tight clumps that strengthen over time, requiring no maintenance while providing years of protection. In the scorching heat of Mexico and Central America, when other crops wither and die within days, tribal communities have a secret weapon that laughs at drought. Meet chaya, the remarkable bush that transforms the harshest growing conditions into opportunities for abundant food production. While most vegetables surrender to brutal heat and lack of water, chaya thrives and keeps producing. This resilient plant can reach heights of 20 feet and continues yielding fresh, edible leaves year-round for over 15 years with absolutely zero care required. Imagine walking outside during the worst drought and simply snapping off a handful of nutritious leaves whenever your family needs them. But chaya isn't just about survival, it's about superior nutrition. These leaves pack more protein, calcium, iron and vitamins than virtually any other leafy green you could grow. We're talking about off-the-charts nutritional density that puts expensive supermarket greens to shame. The practical benefits extend beyond just food security. Once established, a single chaya bush becomes a continuous food supply, requiring no watering, no fertilizing, no pest control, and no replanting. When seasonal droughts destroy conventional crops, families with chaya borders never worry about having something nutritious to eat. The same plants that provide privacy and property boundaries become lifelines that can sustain entire households through difficult periods. What sets chaya apart is its incredible staying power in conditions that would kill most garden plants within hours. While some plants excel at surviving tough conditions, others specialize in actually healing damaged soil from past problems. When soil becomes contaminated with diseases and destructive pests, Andean farmers call in their most effective cleanup crew, wild marigold. This unassuming plant works like a specialized cleaning service, targeting the invisible enemies that lurk beneath the surface and make growing healthy crops nearly impossible. Unlike its decorative garden cousin, wild marigold focuses its energy underground, where the real problems hide. Its roots release powerful natural compounds that systematically eliminate harmful nematodes, disease-causing fungi, and destructive bacteria that attack crop roots. These chemical weapons seep through the soil, creating a thoroughly sanitized growing environment that remains clean long after the marigold plants themselves are gone. The traditional Andean approach shows remarkable agricultural wisdom. Farmers dedicate entire fields to wild marigold for one complete growing season, essentially giving their land a deep therapeutic treatment. When the season ends, they chop down all the plants and work them directly into the soil, adding a final boost of organic matter enriched with protective compounds. The results often astound even experienced farmers. Potato and corn yields frequently double in fields treated this way, transforming previously struggling plots into highly productive farmland. What seemed like sacrificing a year of food production actually creates multiple years of dramatically improved harvests. But wild marigold's protection extends beyond soil treatment. The plant's natural oils create an additional defense layer by repelling many insects that would otherwise attack crops. This multi-layered protection system addresses both underground and above-ground threats simultaneously. The transformation from diseased, pest-riddled soil to clean, fertile growing medium demonstrates how nature provides solutions for even the most challenging agricultural problems. Clean, pest-free soil sets the stage perfectly for plants that can actually manufacture their own fertilizer. Imagine hiring a full-time garden helper that works around the clock manufacturing fertilizer, providing protection, and producing food all at the same time. Across India and Africa, tribal farmers wouldn't dream of planting without pigeon peas, because this remarkable bush delivers exactly that kind of multitasking efficiency. But pigeon peas don't stop at soil feeding. Their sturdy stems and thick foliage create perfect dappled shade that protects more delicate crops from scorching midday sun. This natural temperature control helps seedlings survive brutal heat while maintaining just enough light for healthy growth. The protective benefits extend to property boundaries as well. Pigeon peas develop into dense, thorny bushes that form excellent living fences around garden plots. These barriers keep out wandering goats, mark clear property lines, and create defined growing spaces without any construction materials. And here's the remarkable part. While performing all these support functions, the plants simultaneously produce abundant harvests of protein-rich peas over several months. Tribal families in Uganda often describe pigeon peas as working 3 jobs at once: feeding the soil, feeding the family, and protecting other plants. What more could farmers ask from a single seed? Plant it once and watch it transform into a multi-purpose agricultural powerhouse that keeps giving year after year. Beyond feeding the soil, successful gardens need strategic protection against the constant threat of flying and crawling pests. Flying insects and crawling pests that threaten garden crops meet their match when tribal farmers deploy thick borders of lemongrass around their growing areas. This aromatic security system uses intense fragrance as its primary weapon, creating protective zones that unwanted visitors simply cannot tolerate. The secret lies in lemongrass's powerful citrus aroma, which acts like an invisible fence that mosquitoes, ants, and many crop-eating insects refuse to cross. That same delightful scent that makes lemongrass so valuable in cooking becomes a natural repellent that sends pests searching for easier targets elsewhere. When tomatoes, peppers, or leafy greens are surrounded by lemongrass borders, pests essentially become lost, unable to detect the very foods they're seeking. Southeast Asian and African families strategically position lemongrass to create mosquito-free zones around their homes and gardens, making outdoor work safer and more pleasant during peak pest seasons. These aromatic barriers work continuously day and night without any maintenance required. The dual-purpose benefits make lemongrass especially valuable to tribal communities. While the plants are busy repelling unwanted insects and even snakes from garden areas, they're simultaneously growing delicious stalks, perfect for harvesting. Families can regularly cut fresh lemongrass for cooking, tea making, and traditional medicine without compromising the protective barrier. Thai and Vietnamese farmers have perfected the technique of planting lemongrass in strategic lines that physically block crawling insects from reaching garden beds, creating both aromatic and physical obstacles that few pests can overcome. While airborne pests respond to scent barriers, ground-level problems like aggressive weeds require more direct physical solutions. When fields become overrun with aggressive weeds that resist conventional control methods, tribal farmers in Africa and Central America reach for mucuna seeds and unleash nature's most effective smothering technique. This remarkable climbing plant tackles weed problems through sheer physical dominance rather than chemicals or back-breaking labour. Here's where the genius becomes apparent. Without sunlight, even the toughest weeds begin to weaken and die off within weeks. The mucuna blanket essentially starves aggressive plants that would normally require extensive digging or chemical treatments to eliminate. As the weeds decompose beneath this natural cover, they leave behind soil that's remarkably free of weed seeds. But mucuna delivers a second powerful benefit as its work progresses. The climbing vines continuously fix nitrogen from the atmosphere through specialised root nodules. When farmers eventually cut down the thick mat of mucuna and leave it on the soil surface, all that stored nitrogen gets released as the plant material breaks down, creating rich natural fertilizer exactly where it's needed most. Farmers in Benin have developed an elegant rotating system that maximizes these benefits. They grow mucuna for just a few months to clear weeds and build soil fertility, then plant corn or other staple crops that thrive in the newly revitalized weed-free environment. Once weeds are under control, the focus shifts to protecting valuable crops through smart companion planting strategies. Smart companion planting reaches its peak sophistication with basil, a secret weapon that tribal farmers strategically position throughout their gardens to make valuable crops essentially invisible to destructive insects. This isn't just about growing herbs alongside vegetables, it's about deploying an aromatic cloaking system that confuses and misdirects garden pests. Basil's strong, distinctive aroma contains compounds that effectively mask the scent signatures of neighbouring plants. When tomato plants are surrounded by basil, for example, tomato hornworm moths can't detect the chemical signals they normally use to locate their preferred host plants. What makes basil particularly valuable is how it works differently against various types of pests. Some insects simply become confused when basil's aroma interferes with their ability to find host plants. Others, like mosquitoes and certain flies, find basil's scent actively repellent and avoid the area entirely. This creates multiple layers of protection from a single companion plant. The effect resembles a natural smokescreen that hides valuable plants in plain sight. Crops that would normally attract devastating pest attention become virtually undetectable when properly positioned within basil's aromatic influence. Indigenous gardeners across Asia and South America have spent generations perfecting specific planting patterns that maximize this protection. They've learned exactly which vegetables benefit most from basil's scent masking, how close to plant them for optimal coverage, and which basil varieties provide the strongest protective effects. When larger threats like goats, cattle, and wandering wildlife threaten to destroy entire gardens, tribal farmers across Africa and South America deploy cassava plants as living fortresses around their growing areas. These green sentinels stand tall with their distinctive palm-like leaves and sturdy stems, creating formidable barriers that even determined animals prefer to walk around rather than challenge. The large, broad leaves of cassava plants overlap and interweave as they grow, forming dense protective walls that become more impenetrable with each passing month. Unlike constructed fences that require repairs and maintenance, these living barriers actually strengthen themselves over time, growing thicker and more effective without any human intervention required. What makes cassava borders particularly valuable is how they solve multiple problems simultaneously. While protecting inner crops from trampling and browsing damage, the same plants that form these defensive walls also produce food. The starchy root tubers that develop underground can be harvested throughout the year whenever families need them, providing a reliable source of calories that stores well and doesn't require immediate processing. This dual-purpose approach transforms cassava borders into agricultural insurance policies. When seasonal droughts destroy other crops or unexpected events threaten food security, families with established cassava barriers know they have something substantial to eat. The tubers can remain in the ground for extended periods, ready for harvest when needed most. The same barriers that keep hungry animals away become lifelines that can sustain entire households through difficult times. Physical barriers protect against large intruders, but microscopic threats require more sophisticated chemical warfare from nature's arsenal. Nature's most sophisticated chemical warfare comes from an unlikely source, the humble neem tree. Tribal farmers in India and Africa treat these trees with the same affection most people reserve for beloved pets, and for good reason. Every single part of a neem tree functions as a round-the-clock pest control centre that can handle over 200 different crop-damaging insects. The leaves, bark, seeds, and even roots all contain powerful compounds that don't simply kill pests. They disrupt their entire life cycles in remarkably intelligent ways. Farmers collect fallen neem leaves and crush them into simple sprays that keep destructive insects off vegetables without requiring a single store-bought chemical. These natural compounds don't harm beneficial insects like bees, butterflies, or pest-eating predators. Instead, they specifically interfere with the hormones and brain chemistry of crop-damaging species, causing them to forget basic survival behaviours like eating, mating, or molting properly. This selective approach creates sustainable pest management that actually improves over time. Unlike harsh chemicals that kill everything indiscriminately, neem's gentle but effective compounds maintain healthy garden ecosystems while eliminating only the problematic species. Many rural Indian communities plant neem trees at the corners of their fields, creating protective boundaries that grow stronger and more effective each year. As the trees mature, their pest-fighting capabilities expand, eventually protecting entire agricultural areas through a combination of airborne compounds and root zone effects. While neem handles pest problems above ground, some garden challenges require plants that can heal deeper, underground issues. Deep beneath the surface, where conventional treatments can't penetrate, microscopic root knot nematodes destroy crops from below while remaining completely invisible to farmers above. Crotolaria's yellow flowering plants might look purely decorative, but their roots function as sophisticated soil doctors. These roots continuously release natural compounds that are absolutely lethal to destructive nematodes while remaining completely harmless to crops and beneficial soil organisms. The treatment works deep underground where sprays, powders, and other surface applications could never reach. What makes Crotalaria particularly valuable is how it combines pest elimination with soil building. Like other legumes, its roots host specialized bacteria that capture nitrogen directly from the atmosphere and store it in distinctive nodules. As the plants grow, they're essentially manufacturing fertilizer underground, while simultaneously clearing out root zone pests. Kenyan farmers have developed an elegant approach to maximizing these benefits. They dedicate entire fields to Crotalaria for one complete growing season, effectively giving their agricultural land intensive healing treatment. When the season ends and farmers prepare to plant food crops, they work the Crotalaria plants into the soil where they release their stored nitrogen exactly where it's needed most. Fields treated this way often show dramatic improvements, transforming from struggling, pest-riddled plots into highly productive growing areas that support healthy crops for years to come. After soil health is restored, smart farmers look for ways to maximize their growing space through plants that work double duty. Maximizing productivity from limited space becomes effortless when tribal farmers in the Pacific Islands deploy sweet potato vines as living ground cover that does multiple jobs simultaneously. These remarkably efficient plants transform the concept of garden maintenance by essentially doing the work for you while producing food at the same time. Once planted, sweet potato vines race outward in all directions with impressive speed, spreading a thick carpet of broad leaves that completely smothers any potential weed competition. This natural moisture conservation system keeps garden beds consistently damp and fertile, even during extended dry periods, reducing or eliminating the need for additional watering. The true genius of this system becomes apparent over time. Once established, sweet potato patches become virtually maintenance-free, requiring no weeding, minimal watering, and no pest control. The vines handle all these tasks naturally while quietly producing their real treasure underground. When harvest time arrives, pulling back the living mulch reveals not just perfectly weed-free, moist soil, but also a hidden bounty of nutritious tubers that have been developing beneath the surface for months. Papua New Guinea communities have perfected this approach by planting sweet potatoes alongside taller crops like corn or yams, creating multi-layered growing systems where ground-level vines support vertical crops while maximising every inch of available space. The swampy depressions, seasonally flooded spots, and waterlogged corners where conventional vegetables would drown within days become highly productive food sources when tribal communities introduce taro. This remarkable plant thrives in exactly the conditions that kill other crops, transforming agricultural liabilities into valuable assets. While most vegetables suffocate in waterlogged soil, taro celebrates these challenging conditions. Its large, distinctive elephant ear leaves rise majestically above muddy water, efficiently converting sunlight into energy that gets stored in starchy underground corms. These wetland areas that would normally contribute nothing to food production become reliable sources of nutritious calories. The transformation goes beyond simple space utilization. Tribal farmers strategically position taro patches to intercept runoff water from higher ground, effectively turning drainage problems into irrigation solutions. As water flows through these systems, it carries nutrient-rich sediment that would otherwise wash away, depositing valuable organic matter exactly where taro plants can use it most effectively. The sustainability of this approach is proven through time. In Hawaii, elaborate taro cultivation systems called lo'i have been producing food continuously for over 1,000 years. Some of the oldest patches are still feeding families today, demonstrating how working with natural water patterns creates agricultural systems that improve rather than degrade over generations. By utilizing these typically wasted spaces, tribal communities effectively expand their growing capacity without clearing additional land or draining wetlands. Swampy areas that once represented obstacles become integral parts of food production systems that capture resources, prevent erosion, and provide consistent harvests. The Ingenious harvest strategy begins early in the growing season when farmers start picking young amaranth leaves as nutritious leafy vegetables. These leaves are packed with vitamins and minerals, providing fresh greens for the table while the plant continues developing. But here's the brilliant part: harvesting leaves doesn't interfere with grain production. The same plants that provide leafy vegetables go on to develop spectacular seed heads filled with tiny, protein-rich grains. The numbers are staggering. A single mature amaranth plant can produce over 50,000 individual seeds, each containing more protein than equivalent amounts of wheat or rice. This superior nutritional profile makes amaranth particularly valuable in regions where access to other protein sources may be limited. Amaranth's unstoppable determination to grow sets it apart from less resilient crops. Where corn might wilt and beans might struggle, amaranth keeps pushing upward, sometimes reaching over 6 feet tall, even in poor soil with minimal rainfall. This hardy nature makes it function as living insurance against crop failure and hunger. The plant's fast, vigorous growth provides an additional benefit by naturally outcompeting weeds that would otherwise require hours of manual removal. Amaranth's rapid development helps it claim growing space quickly, shading out potential weed competition and saving farmers countless hours of maintenance work. In areas where food security depends on making every plant count, amaranth's dual-purpose productivity and remarkable resilience make it an irreplaceable garden champion.